Okay, ladies and gentlemen, today we are going to do subtracting fractions. So please take out your notebook and pencil to make sure that you take notes. Like I said, you're expected to take notes during these videos. Feel free to pause the video anytime you need to catch up or rewatch it if you need to see it again, if you didn't understand it, or if you want to make sure you're writing it down correctly. So label your notebooks 2.3a. We are working on subtracting fractions today. So we'll come back to this. This should already be in your notes, but just to make sure, let's say we're going to put it in our notes again. Step one, now we're going to do subtraction. Step one, we are still going to find a common denominator. And then we're going to find equivalent fractions. Once you have that, we are going to subtract the numerators and keep the denominators the same. And of course, at the end, you are going to simplify your answer. So as I said, pause it if you need to get it into your notes. You should already have it in there from the adding lesson. So let's do some examples. 3/4 minus 1/8. Remember, we're going to do 3 steps. So the first one is finding common denominators. Our common denominator would be an 8. So 1/8 is just going to stay the same. 4 times 2 gives us 8, so 3 times 2 gives us 6. Step 1 is done. Step 2, we're going to subtract our numerators. 6 minus 1 is 5. Denominators stay the same, so that's 8. We're done with step 2. Step 3, we're simplifying. It is already simplified, so there is our answer, 5/8. Next example. 8/9 minus 2/3. We're going to do 3 steps. First, common denominator between 9 and 3 is going to be a 9. So 8/9 can just come down. That's already in common denominator. 3 times 3 gives us 9. So 2 times 3 gives us 6. Excuse me. Step 1 is done. Step 2. We're going to subtract our numerators. 8 minus 6 gives us 2. Denominators stay the same. We are done with step 2. Step 3, simplify. It already is, so we are done. Our answer is 2/9. Let's throw a negative in there. We know how to work with these. We're going to do our 3 steps. Common denominator between 3 and 5 would be 15. Equivalent fractions, 3 times 5 gives us 15, so 2 times 5 gives us a -10. 5 times 3 gives us 15, so 4 times 3 gives us 12. We are done with step 1. Step 2, subtract the numerators. So we have -10 minus 12. Remember, whenever we subtract, we double dash. We add 2 little dashes to make an addition problem. Subtraction to addition, and then we're changing this one. So we have -10 plus a -12, which gives us a -22, an even bigger negative. So -22, denominators stay the same at 15. We're done with step 2. Step 3, we are going to simplify. Do me a favor and ignore the negative. We're going to forget that one right now. 22 divided by 15. How many 15s come out of 22? 1, with 7 left over. So now we put that negative back in front with a 1 and 7/15. Which is our answer. Next problem, same 3 steps. Have a negative, couple negatives in there. First step, common denominator. Already know it's going to be 15. Excuse me. 5 times 3 is 15, so -8 times 3 is -24. 3 times 5 gives us 15. -1 times 5 gives us a negative 5. We're done with step 1. Step 2, we're going to subtract the numerators. So we have negative 24 minus a negative 5. Double dash, 1 to make it addition, to make it the next one, to make it the opposite. So we have negative 24 plus 5, which gives us a negative 19, and the denominators stay the same. Done with step 2. Step 3, we need to simplify. We're going to bring that negative down. 19 divided by 15. How many 15s come out of 19? One of them, with 4 left over. So negative 1, the leftover goes on top. The denominator stays the same. 4 15ths is already simplified. So our answer is negative 1 and 4 15ths. Next part is adding and subtracting fractions, mixed numbers rather, mixed fractions. Again, this should already be in your notes from adding, but double check and get it in there if you need it. You're going to turn all mixed fractions or mixed numbers, whatever you want to call them, into improper fractions. That's your first step. Then you're going to find the common denominator and equivalent fractions. They kind of go together. You are going to subtract this time around the numerators and keep the denominators the same. And again, simplify your answers. And again, you should already have this in the notes from addition, only now we're going to be subtracting. So let's do a couple of these examples. Again, we have 4 steps this time. Step 1, changing it into an improper fraction. 3 times 3 is 9, plus 2 gives me 11 thirds. Minus 1 times 15 is 15, plus the 5 gives me 20 15ths. We're done with step 1. Step 2, we're going to find a common denominator. Our common denominator is going to be 15, so our 20 15ths can just come down. 3 times 5 is 15. 11 times 5 is 55. Please use a calculator if you need to. It will help you be more accurate for some of these. So step 2 is done. Step 3, we are going to subtract our numerators. 55 minus 20, I believe, gives me 35. And the denominators stay the same. Done with step 3. Step 4, we are going to simplify. 35 divided by 15. How many 15s come out of 35? That would be 2. 2 times 15 is 30, with 5 left over. So our answer would be 2 and 5 15ths. However, we can simplify this. We can divide them each by 5. So 2 and 1/3 will be our answer. Next one has negatives. It doesn't really change anything. We just know how to do them. For right now, I'm going to have you ignore the negative. We're going to move it down here right away. We're going to put this over 8. We're going to put this over 4. So 3 times 8 is 24. Plus 5 gives me 29. 1 times 4 is 4. Plus 1 is 5. We're done with step 1. Step 2, we're going to find common denominators. I have a common denominator of 8, so negative 29/8 stays the same. Minus 4 times 2 is 8, 5 times 2 is 10. Now we're done with step 2. Now step 3, we're going to subtract our numerators. Negative 29 minus 10. Double dash. Addition, opposite, so I get negative 29 plus a negative 10. That gives me negative 39. So negative 39 over 8. We're done with step 3. Step 4, we're going to simplify. Let's figure out how many 8s come out of 39. I get a total of 4. Ignore the negative, so we get negative 4. That gives us 32 with 7 left over. 7/8. We cannot simplify 7/8, so negative 4 and 7/8 is our answer. Now with these, sometimes we have improper or whole numbers rather. We can still work with that. We still have our 4 steps. Step 1, we're going to change this into an improper fraction. With a whole number, you just put it over 1. Minus 3 times 6 is 18, plus the 5 is 23. So 23 over 6. There's step 1. Step 2, common denominators, definitely the 6. So 23 over 6 stays the same. 1 times 6 gives me 6. 7 times 6 gives me 42. There's step 2. Step 3, we're going to subtract our numerators. 42 minus 23 gives me 19. Again, use a calculator if it's going to help you. Denominators stay the same. Done with step 3. Step 4, we simplify it. How many 6s come out of 19? 3 times 6 is 18, so there'd be 1 left over, so we'd have 3 and 1/6, and that is our answer. Let's do a word problem. Range. I want you to remember this word. You may want to put it into your notes. Range, remember, is the high number minus the low number. And keep in mind positives and negatives. The temperature for 2 days in January were negative 10 3/4 and 2 3/8. Find the range. So let's find our high number. We have a negative number, we have a positive number. So our positive number is going to be the high number minus our low number, and I'm going to put it in parentheses because it's a negative. We're going to do that. Let's do our 4 steps. Let's change them into improper fractions. 2 times 8 is 16, plus 3 more is 19/8, minus, we're just going to stick that negative there. We're going to ignore it here. 10 times 4 is 40, plus 3 more, I have 43/4. There's step 1. Step 2, common denominator. We have 19, I'm going to bring this over here, 19/8, and then 4 times 2, and I'm going to move this negative up there with that, minus, and let's say it's a negative 86 over 8. There's step 2. Step 3, denominator stays the same. Let's subtract. So we have 19 minus a negative 86. Double dash, we end up with 19 plus 86. If I add these together, I get 105. And again, with some of these bigger numbers, please use a calculator. Our negative is gone. We're done with step 3. Step 4, we need to simplify. So I'm going to do 105 divided by 8. 1/8 comes out of 10. That leaves 2. Bring down the 5. 3/8, which is 24, with a remainder of 1. So my answer is 8 and, 13. I'll try this again. I'm taking the wrong numbers. 13 is my whole number. 1 is my numerator. 8 is my denominator. And the degrees is my answer. So 13 and 1/8 degrees. So homework. Do the 10 subtracting fraction questions and go formative. Then do the 2.3, and I think I called it practice assignment in Schoology, where you've got the 2 puzzle sheets, you do them in Notability, and then submit them to the Schoology assignment. By all means, let me know if you have any questions.